Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 16, Chapter 2, Interviews, Part 13. And before we start, this video contains spoilers from the Tensura Light Novel. And by the way guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I couldn't think straight right now, so I decided to meet with Agera at a different time. The personal interviews were now over and had gone well. I didn't want to work anymore today because I was meeting Masayuki and his friends tomorrow, but I didn't need to sleep anyway. I went back to being a slime that was calmer, and for some reason, this made me feel very at ease. Alright, then I'll report. Excuse me, I've finished my work. This is not work because it is about master skills. For Ciel, that was fine because it was her hobby, but for me, it was just the same as work. But even if I told Ciel that, she wouldn't listen, right? I knew I would have to do this at some point, so I stopped fighting it. I was kind of looking forward to it, to be honest. I was sure that some crazy things would happen, so I was ready. I didn't have to go to sleep mode because the integration went so well. Integration took about a day and a half, but I was in private interviews during that time, so it wasn't a problem. So, that's how things were. There was no need to halt the action because I had been asked permission to use skill alteration in the center of a real battle. If that had happened, I would have been furious. The report started out silently in my mind, and the facts came to me right away. So, let's find out how it is, shall we? Name: Rimuru Tempest. Existence value: 8,681,123 plus Draconic Sword 2.28 million. Race: Supreme Chaos Spirit. Ultimate Slime. Grace: Grace of Friendship. Title: Chaos Creator. Magic: Greater Spirit Summoning, True Dragon Magic, Greater Demon Summoning, Other. Skill: Manas, Ciel. New Intrinsic Skill: Dragon Spirit Hockey, Universal Perception, Universal Shapeshift. Ultimate Skill: Void God Azathoth, Harvest King Shub Nigarath. New Resistance: Physical Attack Nullification, Abnormal Condition Nullification, Natural Effects Nullification, Mental Attack Nullification, Holy Demonic Attack Resistance. This is how it turned out. I didn't know it before, but the value of my existence was great. My sword's growth would bring the total to 10 million if I include it. Now, the straight sword I was used to was at a mythical level. Its shape had been changed by the traits of my race, so I called it the Draconic Sword for ease of use. There were also 2 holes in it. I was happy with how the sword seemed to be changing. Would it change if I gave it a real name? Not a chance. No. I might try it, but I didn't want to name it something silly. If I thought of a better name, I'd change it. Even though the existence value and total number of magicules were great, I couldn't let my guard down. Benimaru, Diablo, and Zijin, as well as Testarossa and the other demon girls, were all very skilled fighters. For example, Testarossa fought well against Velgrynd, who had almost 10 times as many magicules as she did. From this example, you can see that the most important thing wasn't how big your existence value was, but how well you could use your power. That person's total power came from the strength of their magicules, their skill level, how well they could fight, and their skills. During the battle against the Imperial Army, everyone had used all of their skills to the fullest. When I saw the fights that were coming, I knew I couldn't be left behind. Anyway, at this point, I was still ahead of Carrera and in the lead. I moved on to other things because I was happy with how things were going. I was no longer under Veldora's protection. Instead, I had to rely on myself. I went from being protected to being the one who protected others. I had really changed. However, this was not the time to be running from reality. I knew I wasn't comfortable, but why did I only have 2 skills? Ciel happily started its explanation as if in response to my query. First, I no longer needed Wisdom King Raphael and Gluttonous King Beelzebuth, so I integrated. Hey, hold on a minute. What just happened? What did you say in such a cheery tone of voice just now? It claimed that the Wisdom King Raphael, who was essentially its mother, was used for the integration because it wasn't necessary. Is there something wrong? It looks like I hadn't heard wrong. No, I knew it was impossible for me to have heard wrong. I didn't think it would really work, though. But if the Wisdom King Raphael disappeared, wouldn't Ciel still be able to exist? No, there is no need to worry because I am already independent. Ciel answers my question in a calm way. Even Wisdom King Raphael, which could be thought of as its own mom. I was shocked that Ciel could consume it so quickly, but she claimed that there was no issue because the skill had already been rendered useless. What really mattered was what was inside. Ciel's work seemed to have been done without any emotion or feeling. Get rid of all the useless skills and do everything well. Even so, was it really necessary to consume Gluttonous King Beelzebuth as well, even though there was no issue? Of course. Maybe I should have checked before approving anything. In response to my weak questions, Ciel answered them as if she understood me and pushed on with the explanation. It turned out that my skills had drastically changed and no longer resembled how they had before. This level of modification was no longer present. No, my skills were actually modified and integrated, but something about it was still unacceptable. So, let's talk about the most important skills. The first one, Void God Azathoth, was made when Wisdom King Raphael and Gluttonous King Beelzebuth were combined. Additionally, it appears that the newly acquired Scorch King Velgrynd as well as Storm King Veldora were sacrificed. It was fine though because I had inherited those abilities. In other words, the ultimate skill Void God Azathoth included the abilities Soul Consumption, Imaginary Space, True Dragon Release, Scorch and Storm Dragon, True Dragon Core Transformation, Scorch and Storm Dragon, Turn Null, Spacetime Domination, and Multidimensional Barrier. Even though the original True Dragon summoning had gone away, there didn't seem to be any problems with letting it out or letting it go. Veldora and the others came to me on their own, so it would have been the same even without this power. The True Dragon Core Transformation was more interesting, and as its name suggested, it was the power to turn dragons into a nucleus core that could fit into the holes in my sword. Again, the True Dragon, a huge amount of energy, would be gathered into the blade's core. It was scary to think about how much energy that would create. It looks like the dragon's permission is needed, but it's too scary to think about when it might be used. Even if this one is never used, it looks like it will have to be put away. Well, Velgrynd would probably turn it down at least. But Veldora might try it out of curiosity. I was worried about that, so I decided not to tell anyone. Instead of that, the most dangerous thing is the Void God Azathoth's original power, which was perfectly optimized after integration. Soul Consumption, a greatly enhanced form of predation and gluttony, which has the potential to consume the target's soul as well. Turn Null, the most destructive force in the chaotic world. The manas made it possible for the first time to have full control over it. Imaginary Space, a world full of chaos. The super-evolved version of Stomach and Isolation was a prison that locked up whatever needed to be isolated. Spacetime Domination. By simply being aware of time and space, one can move instantly. Even time is affected. Multidimensional Barrier. A constantly active multilayer barrier that protects everything with a dimension fault, subdimensional fault defense field. That's what Ciel said to explain it. It was a little scary. It was terrifying that it would even try to make such a change in the middle of a battle. But there was one thing I didn't believe. Dimension fault's absolute defense. I was aware that there were no absolutes in this world, despite the fact that it claimed to be stronger and safer than even the distortion field. I wouldn't fall for that. Besides, as soon as Ranga got Stellar Wind King Hastur, I had known for a long time that my skills would get very powerful. So, instead of being surprised, I was more scared by the fact that Void God Azathoth alone was almost as good as all the other powers put together. The Harvest King Shub Niggurath was, of course, my second ultimate skill. After the skill alteration, my powers had changed into these two abilities. It was clear that I was stronger than before the integration, but I noticed that some of my abilities had gone away. For instance, Thought Acceleration was no longer present but still appeared to function normally. What was the point? These abilities, Thought Acceleration, Analyze and Assess, Predict Future Attack, Parallelism, Separation, Integration, Chant Cancellation, All of Creation, Thought Domination, Food Chain, Law Domination, and Attribute Transformation. All of these are now part of me, so I can respond faster. I guess I should say it's fantastic. Maybe it was too much, but for the sake of the battles that were to come, a change of mind was needed. The more I had to give up, the weaker I was. There was no need to hold back or be nice in order to get the problem solved and live in peace.